Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we're asking the question, if the return of the Red Angel Angron spells the end of Imperium Nihilus. General spoiler warning to begin, as today we will be referencing events from across the Warhammer 40k universe, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. So the next chapter of the Arcs of Omen event is virtually upon us. The return of the Red Angel himself. In a few days we'll be able to dive into all the new lore and events, finding out exactly how and why Angron has returned, and just what it all may be leading to. But even before then, we of course have to have a little speculation and discussion. As always with this evolving Arcs of Omen narrative, I'm making sure to avoid any spoiler leaks that may be out there, as I really want to enjoy the moments as they unravel. All I know is what the Warhammer community site has teased and revealed thus far, which isn't much, but it is also absolutely enough to get the imagination firing. Now, over the past few weeks, there's been various little updates and snippets on what may be coming with Angron, and there's been two main points that have stuck out for me so far. Firstly, we were told that Angron can no longer be truly banished, which is an absolute game changer for the forces of chaos and Imperium alike. We don't know the real answers for why yet. I'll wait to get those diving into the new World Eaters Codex when it releases. I've ordered my copy of that and Arcs of Omen Angron, though the Angron novel was infuriatingly sold out by the time I could get to the computer. However, the theory given for Angron's seemingly permanence now is the sheer amount of warp energy spilling out into the galaxy, thanks to the Great Rift. And well, that certainly would make sense. We've known for a long time now that the minions of the Ruinous Powers have been bestriding the galaxy like never before. Entire worlds and systems are being claimed in the Dark God's names. Angron, like his fellow traitor Primarchs, has essentially become a demon, so it makes sense he would benefit from the weakened boundary between the Immaterium and the galaxy. We're also told if somehow the Imperium does manage to cast him back into the warp, he re-emerges just 8 weeks, 8 days, and 8 hours later, heralded by 8 crimson omens. 8 days within the 40k universe is absolutely nothing. The blink of an eye. When you've got campaigns lasting for months and even years, how communications can take months to reach one side of the Imperium to the other, if they even get there at all. How unlucky warp travel can turn a few days' journey into a few centuries. This basically means Angron is now unbanishable. He could well return within the same campaign, even if the Imperium manages it in the first place. And just think how much sacrifice it took for the Imperium to banish Angron last time. A full brotherhood of Grey Knights was lost in the encounter. Admittedly, this was against Angron and the Khorne forces with him, but still, it's a monumental sacrifice, and one the Imperium could barely suffer then, let alone now. Angron being unbanishable is a development that shouldn't be overlooked. It has been added into the lore for a reason. The second important point that grabbed my attention is how we now know for certain Angron's return is going to be across the Great Rift, within the Dark Imperium. The world of Malak Baal, which Abaddon had previously stated was going to face the Red Angel's wrath, has been revealed to have a psychic beacon, a substitute for the Emperor's Astronomicon, which in some way burns Angron's mind every time it is used. And so he's off to destroy it. Now you can look at that in two ways. That maybe it's better for the Imperium he has returned across the rift, enabling Imperium Sanctus to remain stable, or at least as stable as it can be within current circumstances. Or you can view it as the absolute worst thing for the Imperium entire, that the situation within Imperium Nihilus was already so dire that this could perhaps prove to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That this could well be the end of Imperium Nihilus, at least as far as we know it. I think the latter is more my way of thinking. Since the eruption of the Great Rift, the Imperium Nihilus has truly been a disaster. We cannot underestimate just how bad the circumstances are. Sometimes with the appointment of Dante as its warden, with the Blood Angels attempting to fight back the darkness, it's easy to forget just how bad things are. But the truth is, Dante's appointment is the tiniest drop of hope in an ocean of darkness. Most of the worlds within Imperium Nihilus are cut off, alone. Communications between systems is virtually impossible. Many worlds believe that they alone are what's left of the Imperium entire, that the Emperor is dead, or worse, abandoned them. Travel through the warp, already a nightmare within the rest of the galaxy, is a true trial of life and death across the rift. Without the Emperor's light to guide them, the people are reduced to the smallest jumps in and out of the warp, travelling virtually blind and entirely at the prey of the ruinous powers. Dante's appointment was a mission impossible, and the truth is his forces are still trying to push back the remnants of High Fleet Leviathan out of the Red Scar. And now here comes Angron with a fully reunited World Eaters Legion with him. Let me say that again. Angron and a fully reunited World Eaters Legion. That is a monumental problem to deal with at the best of times. No, they most certainly aren't as numerous as some of their fellow traitor legions, such as the Death Guard or Word Bearers for example, but they are still an unbridled force to be reckoned with. A hammer fist that will land with planet-shaking power. We're told a battered remnant of Indomitus Fleet Quartus will stand before Angron at Malak Baal, and the legendary Grey Knights will attempt to banish the Primarch once again. Even if they are successful, having him return in 8 days really isn't going to help much. The Imperium may be able to evacuate their beacon, but it is not going to save the world. And it is not going to save the rest of Imperium Nihilus either. It all feels like the fate of Imperium Nihilus is really hanging in the balance here, and quite possibly could be decided for the worse. Abaddon the Despoiler, within the first chapter of the Arcs of Omen narrative, retitled himself from the War Master of Chaos to the War Master of Imperium Nihilus. That is not something done lightly, and perhaps foreshadowing a more greater, permanent presence for the War Master. And now here, we have Angron returning across the Great Rift too, being unbanishable, It all really feels like it's building towards an unbelievably darker fate than the Imperium was already in before. Which also means that possible loyal Primarch return becomes even more likely for me too. We speculated a few weeks back that I was getting the feeling maybe Imperium Nihilus could truly fall, that it could become more the bastion of chaos than it is now. And now with these teases and revelations of what's to come, I don't think it's as an impossible scenario as it maybe used to seem. There's a mention of the great game beginning anew as well. Maybe we could see that playing out before our eyes within Imperium Nihilus. Campaigns of one god against the other. It already happens amongst the lore, but maybe now we'll actually get to see it, as they each claim real territory within the galaxy. That within the next edition, Chaos vs Chaos war zones will become a reality. We've seen throughout the Dark Imperium trilogy of novels that Guilliman was intent on taking the next stage of his Indomitus crusade across the Great Rift, to let the people who still held out there know they have not been forgotten, that they have not been abandoned. He could very well be doing that soon, but rather than fighting a war of defense as he might have planned, instead he may find himself fighting a crusade of vengeance, a war of reclamation, attempting to retake the Imperium Nihilus from the forces of chaos who have claimed most of it. Obviously there are some worlds that surely could never fall, the homeworld of the Blood Angels for one. I think we could see Malak Bale fall as expected, yet the beacon could be evacuated, maybe even reach the Blood Angels' home, truly turning the home of the Angels into the terror of the North. A defiant beacon of light amidst the chaos. A beacon for Guilliman to fight towards. It could also mean an interesting twist to the long hoped for Dante stand before Abaddon, becoming rather than the Emperor Dante is standing before, it's instead the beacon of his power. Unlikely, but definitely possible. If indeed the Lion is returning as hoped, having Imperium Nihilus fall into even further desperate circumstances does make sense. The ancient knight victorious, yet crying cinder tears as the prophecy stated, could be the Lion arriving and desperately defeating Angron, only to know it's nothing but a temporary respite. Knowing he's been victorious today, but half the Imperium is all but lost. All sending us into the next edition, with Chaos having claimed Imperium Nihilus as its stronghold, but with the Blood Angels and a few other bastions still valiantly holding out, with the Lion and perhaps Guilliman leading refreshed Indomitus crusades into the darkness, in a new dawning of a desperate great crusade. It's still early days in this Arcs of Omen unravelling, and only time will tell. We'll continue to discuss and dissect it more as the answers come, but the arrival of Angron within Imperium Nihilus absolutely means a major shake-up to the Dark Imperium situation is on the horizon, and one that undoubtedly means bad things to come. But as always everyone, what do you think? What do you think Angron arriving across the Great Rift means for the future of the Imperium? Do you feel it's a good thing that he is not within Imperium Sanctus? Or do you feel that this is the worst thing that could have happened? Is it all building towards a far darker fate for the Dark Imperium? No pun intended. That it could truly fall to becoming more a bastion of chaos than it already is? Or do you think the Imperium will prevail? That Abaddon and Angron will be stymied? Maybe by the return of another Primarch? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me. It really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too? With that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.